and welcome to Madness in the Method, the podcast where we exclusively talk about Nicolas Cage. We go through his movies and his illustrious, sometimes strange career. And in this episode, we are talking about one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies, Vampire's Kiss. I say one of my favorites. Spoilers, I think it's my favorite of his. But we'll get to that, sorry. With me, as always, is my friend and trusty co-host, Christopher.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And yes, let's begin talking about Vampire's Kiss. Wait, just to explain why I might have sounded a little weird in the beginning, we already talked about Vampire's Kiss just before this. But you haven't heard that, maybe. Unless you've listened to that before this. We made a commentary track, is what I'm trying to say. We just saw the movie, and we recorded a commentary track that will be up on Patreon, just as a regular commentary track, like we do sometimes, like once a month. But now we're also going to record an episode for the official Madness in the Method podcast. So, apologies if we, or at least I will say, if I sound a little weird, because we just talked about this. So
I think we're gonna first start with you had obviously seen this movie before.
Oh yes, I had seen it a long time ago. Even already made YouTube content about it. Please check that out on my YouTube channel.
Because you like this movie so much, when did you see this movie first time? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I know I saw it around the time I made the video. I think I saw it because I had read about it as, one of the craziest performances ever. And I think the earliest reference I have is I don't watch his videos anymore because I don't enjoy them. Chris Stockman on YouTube had, when he talked about especially bad movies, he called it hilariosities or something like that. And in the intro to those videos, he had the ABC scene from Vampire's Kiss. Oh. So I don't know if it stems from that, or I watched a video he made about it. I just know that I watched it, and I was so taken aback by the movie that I started researching it and made a 15-minute video essay about it.
And when you saw this the first time, was it instantly you fell in love with it, or did it take a few watch, or?
No, I was instantly. I was just like, "This is amazing! I love it! I need to know more." And I started researching. Yeah, it was. Unlike Peter Lowe, I knew it was love from the moment I set eyes on it.
Yeah, so I saw this movie for the first time a few weeks ago. Before, because we decided quite early on that we needed to do a commentary track of this movie.
Yeah, specifically for this one, because of the strangeness.
And we have done blind commentary tracks before, where I at least was going completely blind, and I wasn't really happy with those. So I decided to watch the movie beforehand, a few weeks before, so it wasn't super fresh in my mind, but at least I've seen it before we did the commentary track. Yeah. And we've talked about this movie a lot, because again, it's one of your favorites, or even your favorite movie of Nicolas Cage, so we mention it a lot. So I hadn't seen it for no real reason more than I just never got around to it. But I had even though you always say I'm not gonna hype it, but I was pretty hyped.
It was a running theme each time we recorded, and after we've done recording and we went through the list, it was like, oh, we're almost down to Vampire's Kiss. I don't want to hype it too much, but it's pretty good.
But it is the best one in the entire list. I had some. I was going in with some high hopes, but also since I knew people really labeled this as a so bad it's good movie, I was also apprehensive. So it's and I think that was a perfect combination to go into this movie. Okay, because I was able to not take the silly bits too seriously because of the reputation the movie had, but I also could go in with a analytic reviewer kind of mindset because of what you said.
Okay.
So I could get both aspects without being too taken aback by anything.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, and I went into it, and yeah, we're gonna come to that, but as I said several times now, it's definitely a movie.
Yeah. We try to avoid. I try to avoid asking that when we made the commentary track, but I'll ask you now. What did you think of it? What did you think of it?
Overall, I think it's a very interesting movie. It's if you like to analyze movies, you should definitely see it. It has. I said that at the end of the commentary track, but I'm going to repeat myself for those who haven't watched that one or listened to it. It's a very normal movie, which is I wouldn't say expertly made, but it's
competent.
Competently crafted movie with a very over the top and very crazy Nicolas Cage in the center of it. But everything else is a sort of a regular movie.
Yeah,
and that's a very interesting just dynamic between those two of normal actors doing a fine job against Nicolas Cage doing something else. It's the best way to describe. He's not bad. He's not good. He's just.
It's different.
It's this thing that we usually say about weird actors, that they are like an alien who have watched movies but didn't really understand what was going on. Yeah,
they're not quite sure how to act human.
Yeah, and that's sort of what he does in this movie. It's entrancing to watch. So I recommend it. I can't say if it's a good movie or a bad movie, but it's interesting. You should watch it.
It's truly a piece of art.
Yeah,
because you can't say it's good or bad, but it definitely is.
It's definitely a movie. That's but again, as we talked about, it's in the commentary track. It has a lot of good and interesting ideas, but I think they have too many of them. It can't really decide which of them they're going for.
No, that's true. That's something I hadn't thought of it like that before, but during the commentary track, what you said definitely made sense. Because I went, when I made my video about it ways back, like I said before, way too deep. I went there's the surface level stuff, there's the subtext stuff, and then there's the too deep stuff. I went past that. I dug too deep. And came out with too many ideas and theories about the movie, but that for me that worked because I went beyond what was too much. So it was still enjoyable, but it's definitely like if you try to analyze it and go too deep, it will be like, oh, it's just a bunch of ideas. There's nothing concrete to it, and I agree to that because like we said before. The surface level stuff, the actual story of the movie, it's kind of whatever, kind of. It's fine.
So
it really hinges on Nicolas Cage's performance.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's just for the people who haven't watched it. Just quickly summarizing the movie, I think, without spoiling too much, because I don't think you can really spoil it too much.
Not really.
It is about a guy, a juppy, like middle management, maybe a little above middle management guy in the 80s, having the suit, having the nice apartment, having money and those things, and going out every night and hooking up with girls.
He's Patrick Bateman.
Yeah,
right? Patrick,
more or less.
Yeah, Patrick Bateman.
Except I would say less stable mentally.
Oh, sure.
But then one night he hooks up with a girl and she bites him during sex, and then he turns into a vampire, and that's the movie. It's basically him becoming more of a vampire or becoming more entranced in this madness that he thinks he becomes a vampire.
Yeah,
but I'm going to leave that to interpretation, if he actually becomes a vampire or if he's just thinks he becomes a vampire, but that's sort of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's about it. There's no real twists and turns and no interesting narrative choices really during the movie. But
no, not on the surface level.
No, again, and on the surface level, but because of how the director directs it and how Nicolas Cage acts, and some of the, I don't know how much of it is in the script.
Yeah, I don't know either. I haven't read the script, and from what I know, the writer Joseph Minion, he hasn't really. I haven't heard anything where he was like, "Oh, they ruined my script" or anything. So
I did read somewhere that it's quite big rewrites was made on set.
Oh yeah, I know about that. Yeah, that they. What about this instead? When they were shooting.
Yeah, but that seems more like this will be an interesting or cool thing more than let's change what the script means.
Oh sure, yeah.
So
yeah, I definitely think that in the script, the whole vampirism thing is a metaphor for something that you can interpret it several different ways. But it's not a straightforward vampire movie. I mean, it is, but it's also a metaphor for something. That's definitely. I'm pretty sure that's in the script.
I would say this movie goes more because that's another movie that I think is quite similar in some ways. The original, well, I think it's the original at least. Wolfman from like the 50s or 40s
with Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, exactly, that one. Because that movie, I don't know if you know that, but
I've seen it once when I was like 12. So
okay.
don't quote me on anything.
Okay, because that movie, it's a person, kind of a rich person, I think he is, and he gets bitten. No, he gets cursed by a gypsy and becomes a werewolf.
Oh yeah.
But according to the script, the original version of the script, they were never going to show the Wolfman, his transformation.
Oh, okay.
Because the movie was made to be ambiguous. Is he just going crazy and killing people, or is he actually becoming a Wolfman? But the studio said, because it's like the 50s, they say, come on, we need a monster hit picture. We need the Wolfman.
Yeah.
So they made it very unambiguous in the movie. And I think this Vampire's Kiss did like the reverse of that. Where they made it, is he become a vampire or is he not? But they made it more leaning towards he actually becomes crazy.
Oh sure, yeah, but the company, the production company, did just want a vampire movie.
Oh yeah. But that didn't.
They were the same way, like, oh, what is this crazy movie? No, recut it, turn it into a regular vampire movie. That's the problem with the producers. They have all the money to make great movies, but they just want to make crap movies all the time.
True.
Anyway,
but I think that's quite interesting that it's sort of the same plot line if you take a very big step back, but it's very similar to a person thinking he becomes a creature of the night.
Sure, yeah.
And one of them was forced to be very unambiguous about if he's crazy or if he's real, and the other one is same but reversal, because it's very. I think it's hard to watch this movie and actually think he becomes a vampire. Even though it's possible. It's possible, but I think it's hard.
It is hard because of certain aspects of the movie. The fact that he like the biggest thing, he doesn't ever get the fangs. He has to buy plastic fangs.
Yeah.
To become a vampire. I just because we're still a lot of what we're talking about during the commentary track and still going on in my head. It was like, oh, that's another angle. Once again, very, very, very small, and it's really just only because of the teeth that there is like a little bit of like a transsexual subtext to it, that he wants to be a vampire, so he has to do but he isn't a vampire, so he has to make himself a vampire. I was thinking about the scene where he puts the teeth in, and it's almost like you can see it in his face. It's almost like orgasmic to him.
I think you're going too deep again.
I'm going too deep. I know, but it's just a bing. Oh wait, I know.
As we talked about during the commentary track and mentioned it, that you have made a video about this.
Yes.
You I think you need to remake that video. I really do think that. So it's gonna be hard to rewrite that script, but You have a lot of new ideas, it seems, since then.
Yeah, but do you think I need to remake that because the ideas I had in that video were too out there, or like do I have to rein it in?
No,
or should I just add all the new ideas?
No, add more.
Oh, okay.
Just go
maybe
deeper.
I'll do a sequel.
Also, we talked about American Psycho. I read in the trivia that apparently Christian Bale used this performance as a baseline for his Patrick Bateman.
That's fucking perfect then. Because I referenced when I made the video and when we did the commentary track, I referenced American Psycho. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities between the characters. Both in the script and both how they are acted, except that again, Nicolas Cage version is not able to keep the mask on, while Christian Bale's character is mostly only the mask.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
But there are extreme similarities.
Oh yeah, and I mean even in American Psycho, he goes even if I think that's just a dream sequence. He goes fully insane and starts like shooting people in the street. Just like in this one, he starts just running through the street screaming, "I'm a vampire, please kill me." So yeah.
My girlfriend broke up with me. I'm a vampire, please kill me.
Please kill me. Come on, kill me.
Yeah.
Oh, the sun! This is the end. That's another thing. It's why people should watch. It is infinitely quotable. Oh my god. Well, fuck you, sister.
Such a weird.
Yeah. This is all over the place. Where were we?
We were just talking about the movie. We weren't anywhere, I think.
Right. Sure. Well, that was one thing we saved from the commentary track. We didn't do in the commentary track. Let's talk more specifically about Nicolas Cage's performance, because it is the Nicolas Cage podcast. So.
Correct.
So, I say I do declare this is the first time that out of the movies that we've seen, I mean, because we're going in chronological order, this is the first time he goes full Rage Cage.
Oh yeah.
There have been like little scenes, little snippets here and there before that, but this is fully unhinged.
Yeah, it's like if you take the two most Rage Cage up until this point, it has been that for if there's anyone out there that actually watches all the movies that we watch going on, that's in the last movie, Moonstruck, when they first introduce him in the bakery.
Oh yes, it's so good.
So that scene, just that performance, combined with his when he screams in the car in Valley Girl, when he just screams to people on the street and say, "Hey, it's you!" What? Those two performances together, and then put them on like max volume. That's the entire this movie.
Oh yeah. And there's a little bit of it in Peggy Sue Got Married, because he's like doing a weird voice and kind of acting strangely. But yeah, this is turned up to not 11 but 12, 13.
Yeah, and it works great in this movie because it is a character who, as talked about before, that he turns into a vampire or he turns into a vampire, but all his mannerisms, his way of existing sort of stems from no knowledge about vampires. That he does a weird voice and has this sort of crooked back and hunched over look because he saw Nosferatu once.
Yeah, that's the only time, like, vampires, other than him talking about it, it's the only time they're referenced. Like, all he knows about vampires is Nosferatu. And he looks just like Count Orlok.
Yeah, and that it works great for in the performance, that he is a person who tries to act as something he doesn't understand. And that's and that's so his Nicolas Cage, the actor's weird, over the top, very eccentric acting, it works in the story.
Oh yeah,
because it seems like the the character would act in that weird way. So if we think about Peggy Sue when he did the weird voice, for example, or Moonstruck, I had a big issue with his introduction, Moonstruck, because
I know.
Because I was like, this is not believable. Nobody would act in this way, especially if we put it in the context of the rest of the movie. It doesn't really make sense.
No, it's very, very straightforward romantic comedy, and then you have Nicolas Cage all up in it.
Yeah, but in this movie it works because that's the story, that this person is fucking weird.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. And what I also think, I haven't seen every Nicolas Cage movie, but of all the Nicolas Cage movies I've seen, just like you mentioned, in Peggy Sue, we talked about this in the Peggy Sue episode. Please check that out. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. Patreon. We talked about how the director, Francis Ford Coppola, I almost said Roman Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola tried to or the producers wanted Coppola to kind of rein him in a little bit, and he did rein him in a little bit. And that's been kind of a thing. I'm pretty sure we've mentioned that in other movies as well, that he feels a little reined in. Here in Vampire's Kiss, Robert Bierman, the director, him and Nicolas Cage basically got together and said, let's experiment with this movie. Before they started shooting, there was literally a discussion they had over lunch. We're gonna experiment and find the quirky stuff in this movie. And Robert Bierman just lets Nicolas Cage go. There are no reins on him. And that's why we have, the most Nicolas Cage performance ever.
Yeah, and I think in his career, so far at least, we'll see what happens after this movie, but so far it seems like this is what he needed. He needed one movie where he can just fucking go insane. Because the scene where he breaks the room, you said before that he didn't even rehearse it. He just went ballistic and throwing glass tables around. And another place.
All the furniture and all the lamps, all the glass was actual glass. So he potentially cutting himself up. He didn't care, he just went for it.
Yeah, and the scene where he ate a cockroach, it's actually him eating actual live cockroach, and that was his idea, apparently. Yeah. And it's just, he needed this outlet, because we've seen him. Yeah, Peggy Sue is a perfect example where he actually fought with producers and directors that I want to do this, and they say, come on, you can't do that. And he says, I'm gonna. And I think he needed this. A director said, you know what, do whatever the fuck you want, it's gonna be fun.
It's exactly.
And from here on we'll see if this helps him to rein himself in.
Because here he had his outlet. Now he can calm down. Exactly.
If he can look back and see these things worked, this thing didn't work. Let's try to make now I can create a great performance. He has done great performances before this, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And he's going to, spoilers for the future, he's going to do great performances again.
Yeah.
Even Oscar winning performances. So.
Yeah, but if we watched most of the movies during his the ones I've seen at least from his when he's at the top of the world around the 90s.
Yeah, late 90s,
Yeah. That's there we can see him sort of reining himself in and finding when he can act Nicolas Cage and when he can act as a normal human being.
Yeah, we're running ahead here, but his character in The Rock, I think is a good example of that. Because he's pretty normal, but there are some weird quirks with that character.
Yeah.
That only Nicolas Cage could do.
And I think this is a pivotal moment in his career when he can just, test the boundaries, see how far he can go. And
go nuts,
and then use that going forward. So,
definitely.
It's a very interesting performance.
What I would love to see, and there are some movies later on, movies like Mandy, perhaps, but I would love to see this completely unhinged Nicolas Cage, but in a better movie. Because, like we said, the baseline, the surface level stuff in this movie, Vampire's Kiss, it's not great. It's fine.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was completely unhinged in, not specifically let's say just leaving Las Vegas, but he's basically unhinged in that one. But like a real quality movie.
So I think we have one. It's at the end, because it's a movie that came out like 2 years ago. So that's like maybe 2 years before we get to that point. But I've heard, I haven't seen it, but I've heard that in the Color of Out of Space, or what's it called? Color.
Yes, Color Out of Space. Yeah.
Yeah, that he in that movie, his character is going insane. That's part of the story.
Yes, I've seen it, and there are definitely unhinged scenes in that one, but it's nowhere close to this.
Oh, okay, because he stated in an interview I saw that he imagined that his character in that movie's father is the guy from Vampire's Kiss.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Because he talks about his father, in the movie.
Yes,
and his father was kind of a weird guy, and kind of abusive, and in Nicolas Cage's mind, that was this guy from this movie, whatever it's called.
Sure,
Peter.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about that. Yeah, in about a year and a half. But yeah, there are a lot of moments and a lot of scenes in that movie that are just insane. I agree, but it's not quite on the level of this.
Not enough.
It's pretty damn close, but not quite.
All right.
That's a good movie, though. That's a good movie.
I've heard a lot of good about it. I'm looking forward to it. It's like the Uncut Gems all over again.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking forward to this movie I'm going to see in 2 years. So, yeah. That's. Do you have anything else about his performance in this movie that we need to address?
Well, there are like specific things that I just enjoy. Like, yeah, we talked about some of the line deliveries. There's all the quotable lines from the movie are his.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, well, I guess the old lady in the bathroom. What the fuck is going on? That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the like lines are his. Like the ABC speech, or when when he's sitting in the cab waiting for the Alva character, where's that little cunt? It just says it so weird. I don't really have much more to say than that. I love his performance. I could watch this movie like every day solely because of his performance.
I could watch his performance every day, but I couldn't watch the movie every day because the story is, again, very not that interesting on the face of it, sort of.
Yeah. No, I agree. But because I think he is... No, he's not. But he's like in 99% of the scenes. There's a couple of scenes that he's not in. But other than that, he's in every scene. So for me, that's fine. Even we discussed the scene in the diner, which doesn't really make sense, the way it doesn't have any purpose. Still fine. Because once again, you can just quote his fucking grease hole. So even that scene is fine. And I mentioned that when we did the commentary track. I love every scene in this movie, basically. Yeah. So
I'm not that sold on it, but
okay.
Also, I found it could be there's not an official statement on it, but I found maybe a reason why that diner scene is in the movie.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of
like most things in this movie.
a leap. I mean a leap for me to make this connection. But
okay.
So that diner, it's an actual diner.
Yeah.
Which was used by Martin Scorsese in another movie.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking
let's
maybe someone on set was like, well, wouldn't it be cool if he used this set?
That could be it.
Yeah, I mean, because it is it doesn't have any purpose in it.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Except to see him scream at a waiter.
Yeah. There's no point to that scene. That's definitely true.
No.
Like in the story, there's no point to it.
No.
The only thing could be that he seems to react to the rain when he gets out of the diner, but then it doesn't make sense why he's in a diner. He should have been in the club that he was in before.
Yeah, he's not in a diner any other place.
No, because he's supposed to be like more upper class, kind of. That's why we see him hang out in this nice Upper West Side apartment and the clubs he's in, and the fancy museums. But then for some reason he's having dinner in a Greasy Spoon diner. Like, why?
Yeah, and it's very early in the movie too.
It doesn't make sense.
Because it could have made sense, like at the end when he's going around screaming on the streets. That it could have worked then. When
he's run out of money for some reason, even though he's still working technically.
Yeah. He ran out of money from, because I think when he gets what's the assistant called? Vera? Alva. Yeah. When he goes to Alva's house and more or less tricks her back to work.
Yeah.
I think that's a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that, yeah.
Yeah. And the day after, logic states, should be a Saturday.
Yeah. I agree.
and so he worked. He still have a work. He hasn't been laid off or anything. It's just it's the day after. It's the weekend, and he worked the day before. But now he has no money left for some apparent reason.
Yeah, maybe it's the end of the month and the paycheck hasn't come yet or something. I don't know.
We didn't mention
so weird.
Very quickly, but that it could be that the movie. That he is on drugs throughout the entire movie? Yeah,
there are a few hints that he is on drugs, so he could have just spent all the money, and that's why he's going insane. He's on too much drugs. You know?
Yeah, and it could be just that he's on a like week-long binge of drugs, and that's why he doesn't have money left. I mean, it's possible in this movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's just sitting in his apartment, popping ketamine and watching Nosferatu over and over again and saying, "I am a vampire."
I mean, if the director or Nicolas Cage came out and said that's what the movie's about, I would say, yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
So, just a last thing regarding the actor. Have you read about the other actors that was considered for the role?
I know that. What's his name? Judd Nelson was in talks to do it, and they had already picked Nicolas Cage, but then his agents were like, no, you shouldn't do a silly movie like this just after Moonstruck. So he was like, oh, okay, and then he backed out. So they cast Judd Nelson, but then Judd Nelson backed out or got another job or something.
There was one...
and then Jack Nicholson, that's not his name. Nicolas Cage called up and like, no, I want to do it. And I'm like, fine, good.
So Judd Nelson, I could see him in this role. It wouldn't be a good movie. It would have been a fairly boring movie, but
it wouldn't have been the same. Yeah.
But I can see it. Still.
Oh sure, yeah.
But the other actor, I don't know. This is just a trivia on IMDb, so I don't know how far they went in this. If someone just said, oh, maybe this guy, or.
Oh yeah, exactly. There was a list of 10 people, and they were all.
But this actor, I can't see any sane person think this would work, at all.
Okay.
Stallone.
No.
How?
That would have been terrible.
How in any world would that work with this script?
It wouldn't. And this was shot in like 87, 88, came out in 89. That was when he was on the top of his like career. Yeah. His ego was the size of fucking the moon at that point.
That's like
it's just after Rocky 4, like he was on top of the world.
Yeah.
Which reflects very well in the movies he made at that point. They're all bad, basically. I mean, I like some of them. I mean, I like them.
Yeah.
But that's a quickly just a tangent on Stallone. Rocky is a great it's a metaphor. The Rocky franchise is a metaphor for where Sylvester Stallone is in his career.
Yeah.
So the fourth one is when he is on top, because he's literally ending the Cold War with a boxing match in that movie, and that came out like 2 or 3 years before this. So that would have been around the time when he would have made this movie. That would have been such a strange movie because he wouldn't have gone crazy. He wouldn't have been this pathetic pigeon eating.
No, he would have been
make-believe vampire. It would have been Sylvester Stallone saying, I guess I'm a vampire, and then he have sex with ladies.
And go around being, well, as Sylvester Stallone was back then, this, in his own mind, suave, cool guy.
Yeah. Imagine, because that's the same year. Imagine his character from Tango and Cash.
Yeah,
what's his
that's
name?
exactly what I was
Ray Tango. Yeah, imagine Ray Tango in Vampire's Kiss. That wouldn't work at all.
So again,
what the fuck?
I can't see how this was even in any way considered, but it says he was considered for the role.
Yeah, I can see why they considered him
because he was big. He was a big name.
Yes, once again, producers don't really. I'm dragging all producers here. That's not fair. Not all producers, but producers in general don't really care about the quality of the product. They just who's right for the role. It's like, he's a big name. We can put that on the poster and in the trailer. People go see a Sylvester Stallone movie.
All right, I'm gonna take back that trivia because I now saw there was another names that was also considered, and this is just names of people who were big at the time.
Okay.
There was also John Travolta and Schwarzenegger.
Oh no. Okay. Well, Well, that's a perfect example. Yeah. So they had a bunch of people. On a list, they didn't. Yeah. They didn't No. They probably didn't audition anyone else than Judd Nelson and Nicolas Cage.
I'm going to take back that trivia and just retcon that trivia. It was a bad trivia.
but still, these actors who are completely wrong for the role and for the movie were still on a list. They were on some producer's mind.
Yeah,
and it's like why?
Yeah, I mean, at least. It feels like it's very unusual that it happens that one of these completely wrong people get cast.
That's true. That's true.
So at least that's because I can't really come up with any movies where it's that this person was completely wrong.
No, I can't. Yeah, I can't say. I know that there are movies that are completely miscast, but I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say.
Okay, to be fair, there are a lot of when there's miscast because of the chemistry of romantic interest and things like that.
Sure,
but not that the parts doesn't work for the person. Or do you have any good example?
Maybe it's not. Well, no, I think it's a pretty good example. Almost everyone in Batman and Robin. George Clooney's terrible as Batman. Alicia Silverstone is terrible as Batgirl. I guess.
I think she's pretty good at Batgirl.
But she doesn't. I don't know.
She's badly written, but I think the actress is doing a good job. I think with what she's had. The biggest problem with, because that's a movie that is the Batman Robin is just a movie that is wrong on the most basic of levels that you can't build anything good on it. It doesn't matter the casting. You could cast anyone; it would still be wrong casting.
Okay.
No person could take that role.
No, you're right. It's not that she is miscast, but I know everyone in that movie was just cast because they were popular at the time. She had just made Clueless, which was not the biggest movie ever, but it was a huge success. So Alicia Silverstone was hot shit back then. She was like, "Oh, we need her for Batgirl, of course."
I mean, I believe she could do a great job if it would have been a good movie. George Clooney, not that much, but
he is not good as Batman. He is barely passable as Bruce Wayne in that one.
Yeah,
but his Batman is terrible.
Most Batmans are terrible.
No,
actors. There's
no.
Don't
Two say
good.
That.
There's two.
Quick tangent on Batmans.
Yeah.
I really like Michael Keaton, but I guess that's just nostalgia.
No, Michael Keaton is one of the two.
Okay.
From my point of view.
I like Michael Keaton is good. I think Christian Bale is good. And that's I'm saying both as Batman and Bruce Wayne, because some are good as Bruce Wayne, but not as Batman, and vice versa.
I think Michael Keaton is perfect. Michael Keaton is perfect Bruce Wayne, but a not perfect Batman, but he does a good job.
He's a good Batman. Yeah.
He's better Bruce Wayne than Batman, if you put it like that.
Sure.
I think Christian Bale, his movies are great, but I think I don't know, he's kind of a boring Batman, I'd say.
I don't know. I like him.
He's so
he's not perfect, but
stiffer than Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton couldn't move his head.
No, that's true. That's true. And then of course, we both agree on George Clooney. Val Kilmer, I think he's a pretty good Bruce Wayne and a bland Batman.
Yeah, but he's too bland.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not saying he's a good Batman.
The two I'm saying is Michael Keaton, and even though I just shit on him, Christian Bale. That's the only two good Batmans, in my opinion. All other is bad.
We haven't talked about, though, Ben Affleck. What do you think? Don't? No? Okay.
No. He's like the Batman, the best detective ever. He's worthless. He's just a hulking big guy. That's all Batman is. Batfleck is. He's just a big hulking guy. And that's not how it should be. Well, he's old now, so now he is like this. Well, okay, cool. Fine. I guess Mr. Freeze also can be a big hulking guy. Because he is that now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Now back to the actual movie.
Back to Vampire's Kiss. Yeah.
We always go on these weird tangents.
Yeah, I know. But wait. Okay. Nicolas Cage. Yeah, he is. Okay. Oh fuck.
What?
Yeah, I'm almost having to go on another tangent. Because I want to say, he is perfectly cast. And we said, no one else could play him. But at the same time, and we did bring up some that, were completely wrong for the movie. We said Judd Nelson would have worked, maybe?
It would have worked,
but
it would have
as
been
good.
Worst movie, but it could have worked.
But then, we haven't seen anyone else make this performance. Now I'm making this about another thing I read on Twitter. Maybe we shouldn't. Fucking, because people, maybe he wasn't as big. It was just before he became big. But Jim Carrey, you think he could have done it? Let's say 1994 Jim Carrey, when he's a little older, because he was 20 back in '89.
I would say 2021 Jim Carrey could do it.
Okay.
But not back then.
Remake? Question mark?
No. But again, as I said in the beginning of this episode, this movie is a kind of a boring movie with a lot of interesting ideas, and Nicolas Cage, he is the bridge between the interesting ideas and the boring movie.
Definitely.
Without that connection, this would be just a regular direct to, I guess at this point, VHS, direct to VHS pretty vampire movie. That's all what this would be. The mental illness part wouldn't even be there with any other actor.
Sure.
And it would just be a boring regular movie, and Nicolas Cage really does bring something completely new to this. So I can't see any other actor, no matter how weird or eccentric they are. But it's the perfect casting for a mediocre movie.
Yeah. Like we mentioned before, this is the first time. Because always when people talk about Nicolas Cage, and when he's in a new movie, they're always like, ooh, is he going to be, is he going to go crazy in this movie? This is the first time, the first time you really saw that Nicolas Cage properly.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'm interested to see, I don't think we could find it, but what the reaction was to his performance in this movie when it came out. If people, because nowadays, now that we know the Rage Cage, this seems like a very Nicolas Cage movie. Nicolas Cage acting.
Yeah, exactly. But
at this point, was this like a big just slap in the face of people? Were people just blown away by how weird this performance was, or was this yeah, I don't know. Was it a surprise? That's a
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at, let's just quickly looking through some reviews, and there is a, let's see here, Entertainment Weekly reviewed it in 1996 for some reason.
Okay.
So at that point, of course, maybe it's because he won an Oscar, so they talked about it.
Yeah.
And he won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas, which is also a very, very unhinged role. Not as unhinged, but... and they wrote, playing a sleazeball who has stumbled upon an excellent excuse for his bent, Cage holds the movie together as best he can. More important, he nails down his unique approach to acting, managing to be simultaneously stylized and naturalistic. But again, that's from 96.
Exactly,
so.
that's from the perspective of we know who he is, and he actually won an Oscar for a similar performance.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very kind review from with hindsight 2020, so to speak.
Yeah. Here's from the New Yorker though, and this is from 1889.
Okay.
June 89. They gave it a favorable review, 7 out of 10. The picture seems to crumble because the writer and director don't distinguish Peter Lowe, the character, Lowe's fantasies from his actual life. But with Cage in the role, we certainly see the delusions at work. This daring kid starts over the top and just keeps going. He's airily amazing.
Huh?
So they appreciated at least they appreciated it back then. But here's also the New York Times, not the New Yorker, gave it a very bad review, 2 out of 10. And I think this is from 89. Doesn't say, but then I think it is from 89. The film is dominated and destroyed by Mr. Cage's chaotic, self-indulgent performance. It's self-indulgent, but I don't think it's destroyed by it.
No, but that seems more as what I was expecting from people who hadn't seen this.
Yeah, here. He gives Peter Lowe the kind of sporadic, exaggerated mannerisms that should never live outside of acting class exercises. Yeah, okay, I can see that, but I don't agree. Oh my god. And here's... Oh, the Rolling Stone gave it a 0 out of 10. Just gotta read that. Yeah, doesn't even sound that bad, but the bloodsuckers in this thriller may not have much bite, but here's a movie that can. Huh? It's guaranteed. Oh, here's a movie that can. It's guaranteed to drain the life out of an audience in minutes. No. The first minutes aren't boring, are they? I don't know. Anyway,
it's pretty boring at the beginning.
I guess. But yeah, so some people appreciated it back then. But I would like to read more, like hear people like, he seemed so normal in Peggy Sue and Moonstruck. What happened? I would like to see that reaction if it exists.
Yeah. I mean.
Oh well, here's one. Probably from some years later, because it's from TV Guide. So that was when it was going on TV. What truly distinguishes, and this is the highest rated review, what truly distinguishes the movie is Cage's performance, which is so off the wall that even if you don't like it, you have to watch in awe. But that's also informed by him. It's hindsight, so. Anyway.
But yeah, it's a very interesting movie, and I think everyone who hasn't seen it should watch it.
Yeah,
even though yeah, sure.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even though there's a big chance you may not like it, or would it be in your kind of movie, it's a movie that you should see. Because of the sheer, it's so original, his performance and how it is, and even
it's
also
quite unique.
Just to see where Nicolas Cage started. I mean, that isn't his first movie, but this is the first Rage Cage movie. And
like we said, it cements his acting style.
Yeah.
You can watch it because of that if you just enjoy watching wacky movies. But also, I would definitely recommend it if you like to analyze and pick apart a movie, because there is so much to pick apart in this movie.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about, we probably won't go too much into it since this episode is almost over. But there are so so it's in the commentary track if you want to listen to that. And my video, I go through a lot of the theories. Both some theories that a lot of people have and some that I thought up on my own. Because there is so much like subtext and meta stuff in this movie regarding vampirism and relationships, power positions within relationships.
Yeah.
Too much almost, like you said in the commentary track.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is to end on that before we go to the score.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the movie and you're gonna watch it, some theories, just something to think about while watching it. It is, first of all, is it becoming a vampire or is it crazy?
Yeah.
Is the movie and just these broader concept we talked about with is this a movie about power structure in a relationship, realizing that you as a powerful man have actually enjoy being the submissive one in the bedroom. Yeah. Is that what the movie is about? Or
submissive tendencies, yeah.
Or is it that he's on a week-long bender? Or
is he just drugged out of his skull? Yeah,
yeah.
That's another one.
Or is it more just about a person who seemed to be incapable to make a real connection with another person, even though he needs it or wants it?
Yeah.
And the last one.
Yeah, and I'll say. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll say the one my favorite and the one you thought was reading too much into it. Is this a movie about losing one's identity, becoming that which you deep down inside actually loathes? That's my favorite theory.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that. Is vampirism just a metaphor for losing your identity?
And I was gonna say the last thing to think about while watching the movie is the character of Rachel, the vampire lady.
Yes.
Is she real? Is she not real? Is she there? Is she real sometimes? And if she's real sometimes, when is she real? And when isn't she? Is she a vampire? Is she not?
Exactly.
There's a lot of things to think about during the movie, and that's just a few of the things that we discussed. So I think
there are more theories out there.
Yeah, and I think with just those things in mind, even though you think the movie is really boring and not for you, just having those things in the back of your head could make it more enjoyable to just analyze it, looking out for those things.
Definitely.
So yeah. So what score are you gonna give this movie?
Well,
feels like I know what, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure. I've been giving it a lot of 7s so far, with a couple of exceptions. But yeah, this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
For me, it's an 11 out of 10 if you want, but yeah, yeah. I think this is beyond amazing. I love it unconditionally. It is on my top. No, it is on my top 10 list. Best movies ever.
Jesus. Yep. So
unironically, I love it.
So this is gonna be a kind of weird score for me because I usually don't give scores in this way.
Yeah.
But I guess. Well, I usually don't give it. So I'm gonna give this movie a 7.
Oh,
as it is.
Yeah.
But because of the all the talk, all the analyzing you can do, and all the talking you can do, I mean, we've done like 3 hours of talking of this movie at this point.
Yeah, basically.
And I still feel like I can do it for quite a while longer.
Oh, sure.
And just because of that, I'm gonna bump it up to actually a 9.
Oh my god!
But I mean, that's 2 scores just because it's not the movie; it's just everything around the movie. So it's So it's a split score. You could say 7 or 9. It depends on if you want to take in everything around it, or if you're just gonna take the movie for face value. That's.
And I suppose that's a Star Trek reference. Huh?
No.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't actually.
Okay. I was whatever. There's a character in Star Trek Voyager called 7 of 9. Okay, whatever. Sorry.
I didn't
sorry.
know that.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, but there are definitely movies like that. Yes, I could also give this a split score if I wanted to. Like, on a surface level, it's like a 5, 6 maybe. Yeah. But yeah, for me it is a 10 because of all the other stuff and because of Nicolas Cage.
So yeah, we'll see about it. It depends.
And it's also the same. I mean, when we first saw Rumblefish, I gave it a 7. But I talked about, like, this is probably a great movie. I just haven't figured it out yet because I saw it the same day. And then later, between episodes, I went into our list and I did bump it up to an 8 because it is a great movie. So it's the same thing here. You know.
The biggest thing for me is I think I never in my life bumped a movie up 2 scores just because I like to talk about it. But
no, that's a lot.
It's a big bump. So
yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I just decide on an 8 later on. We'll see. But at the moment, 9 or 7.
yeah. That's great. It adds to the chaotic nature of this movie. It's perfect.
So, so this movie was made, as we said, in 1989.
Yes.
He actually only made one movie in 1989, and this one. And he didn't make any movies in 1988.
No.
But I think this one started production in 88, so...
I'm pretty sure it was shot during 88, yeah.
But the next year, 1999...
No, 1990.
1990, oh yeah, sorry. 1990, there was a lot of 90s. 1990, he was very busy. He did 4 movies.
4 movies, yeah.
And one of them, which is next week, is an Italian movie, which I think is in... I think he's the only English-speaking character in that movie. I think. Yeah.
The version I found, because we've talked about some of these early movies are kind of hard to find. This is one of those. The only place I found it was on YouTube as a YouTube video.
Yeah.
You can't rent it. You can't buy it. It's gone basically. He's dubbed. In that version, he's dubbed to Italian. And the rest of them are just Italian-speaking actors.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that movie. That name.
It's Tempo di Uccidere. I don't know what that means, but something with time? Yeah. I think tempo means time.
So I read a little about the movie because it's stuck out to me just being in Italian. And I didn't think he made any Italian movies, but apparently he did. It's sort of a war movie from what I gathered. I'm not really that excited for it, but that's next week.
I haven't looked into it at all actually. Oh wait, here. On IMDb the title is Time to Kill. So that's the English title,
right?
Yeah.
So that's next.
That's for next week. Yeah. And that's going to be a regular episode, so we there won't be any commentary track for that. At this point, we don't have any plans to make any more commentary tracks. But if you do subscribe to the Patreon and listen to the commentary track, please leave a comment if you like it. We'll make more Nicolas Cage commentary tracks. But otherwise, we'll just make regular episodes. And you can, like we said before, you can find those on Patreon. You can hear them in advance, at least a couple of weeks in advance. But then they will be on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can hear this podcast. So check us out there. Leave a like or a 5-star or whatever. And we'll see you in the next episode when we talk about Tempo di Uccidere, or Time to Kill. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
The Nicolas Cage podcast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It's produced, directed, and edited by Tobias Widén. Hosted by Tobias Widén and Christopher Billén after an original idea by Christopher Billén. Executive producer is Annika Widén. And a big thank you to all our sponsors over at Patreon for keeping the show going. Laura Kinney, Rasmus Jonsson, Mom and Dad. If you also want to join our Patreon, you can at www.patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Help us keep the show going.